Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Abbott, issue number 1. Okay, I literally picked up this comic book without having any idea what it was about because I saw Saladin Ahmad was writing it, and he absolutely murdered it on Black Bolt. So I figured let me go and check this one out too. This is Boom Studios. So I pick up this comic and I check it out, and it is a female black reporter named Elena Abbott. And Abbott is writing for the Daily Sunlight, just the Daily, whatever. Anyway, she's writing for here. She's compared to she's called the Black Lois Lane. That's interesting. So they give her right away, and just that they give us a good idea of what's happening here. Time frame, not a worry here. They show a newspaper where they're talking about the war effort. They're talking about Nixon cutting down on so you get the idea. This is going to be in the 70s. This is a fantastic comic book, all right? They give you pretty much everything you need to know about the time frame, about what's happening all around you. They give you snippets here and there in the language. You can understand what's happening, not just in what they actually say, but what's being said, rather. So you get to find... This is interesting. So I feel like I have to take notes with this comic. There's so much packed into here. She was married, or at least she was with this guy named Samir. He's from Paris, but originally from Senegal. What do you call it? He wind up going a little bit nuts. You're not sure if it's actual demons or not. Maybe he was just crazy. The art is amazing in here because it gives you what you need. It really sets you in the time period, but it hides what it's not ready for you to know yet. And I love that about the art. That is absolutely amazing with the art. I'm going to try and pronounce this guy's name, Semi Cavella. There's no double L, so I don't know if that's actually the way you pronounce it, but anyway. And Jason Wordy. Those are the three that are on the front cover of this. This is, wow. So Samir starts carving runes, all right, into the wall of the apartment to try and protect her after he's gone. And then suddenly he turns up murdered. Something weird happens. He goes and he disappears. She gets married now to this guy who becomes a police detective, plainclothes police detective. And he's a cool guy, but at the same time, he cheated on her. At the same time, she was never really over Samir. So it's a weird kind of situation, all right? This detective still gives her the time of day in so much as, hey, here's this thing happening. See, she kind of walks a fine line between both worlds, okay? She writes for the Daily, so you'll have black readers, but you'll also have white readers because this is a mainstream newspaper. But she's also breaking stories like nobody else will and nobody else can. Okay, black people who would want to break a story, they don't have the kind of access that she does because she works for this, big time newspaper. And the other people who are working for this newspaper, well, they're looking to not necessarily shake the boat. They don't want to rock the boat. So they're writing fluff pieces for the most part. And they're just you could see it right in the very beginning. All the reporters are crowded around this police chief. And they're trying to feed him oh, so was it the Black Panthers? Is that what it is? Was that the Black Panthers? They apparently cut off this horse's head, kind of like a scene from The Godfather. And he's like, well, I'm not necessarily saying that, but you can see that he'd be okay if that was written. He just doesn't want to be the one to actually say it. But Abbott shows up, and mind you, I said she walks a fine line. I didn't say she does it politely. She is broke, no nonsense, take no crap. She tells it exactly like it is to whoever needs to hear it. You will see several layers of racism in this comic book, which is so impressive to actually see written. I've not read every comic book in the world, but I have never read a comic book where you actually see so many different layers of racism. You'll first off see these two guys, they're shareholders, and they're the owners, I guess, the shareholders of the actual Star newspaper, the Daily newspaper. And they're both different. These two guys are different kinds of racism themselves. They're both overtly racist, but one is very aggressive in his language, in his racism. The other one, meanwhile, he's more of a permissive. Okay, you could tell that he's racist, but he's more like, you shouldn't say that stuff in front of her. Okay, wow, really, we're gonna go there. So then you also see the editor, the guy who's actually in charge of the paper. He answers to these two shareholders. Obviously, everybody answers to a shareholder at one point or another, and he's also racist, but he's more of an ally. You know what I'm saying? Not so much, but what he does is he has his racism about him, but he's trying to be cool about it. He's still just not going to change his ways. That's just not in him. And what's funny is he's Armenian also. They make it a point to show that. So he's more white than your average white person, in so much that he actually directly comes from the Caucasus. And he mentions about, he was not a Vietnam vet. He was a World War II vet. He took shrapnel fighting against Hitler, and the other guys don't want to hear it. And it's just, everybody's got a dynamic to them. And Abbott as well. She has a routine, and her main routine is, and I'm sure this is going to come back to bite her later on, because she tells everybody about her routine. She has 2 brandies every night, one at Cheese Chinese restaurant, the other one at home. So interesting that they're giving so much information like this. This was a fantastic comic book. I am giving this comic book an A-, okay? They give you just enough information and then boom, stop. Because at the end, what happens? It looks like there may or may not be some kind of a demon there. Now, this demon that she's seen before as she was running out the apartment when Samir was being killed, all right? But she's seen this just a little while ago because the police force sees this guy who was torn in half, okay? And it looks like it's some black kid. He was torn in half. And what happens here? They're talking about, well, we have no idea what's going on here. We have no evidence, no anything. You know what? Let's just chalk this up to a suicide. Like someone could actually cut himself in half and have the other part disappear. Like, come on, man. Come on. This is a crazy comic. I love what I'm reading. This is wild. I know there are going to be a lot of people who complain about it. I don't know why you're reading this. What's funny is these are the same people who are probably going to read issue 2 just because they love hate reading. More power to you, to bury your head in the sand. But honestly, for myself, I thought that this was an incredible comic. I loved this. All right, guys. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.